This video is going to focus on environment setup for a macOS environment. If you want to get a little bit more detail, go watch the Windows video because this will be a little bit less detail about the setup process. And all of the example videos you'll see are going to be in Windows, but all the Java stuff is going to be the same across platforms. This is just to get the same tools installed. The first thing you're going to want to do is open up a web browser, and we're going to go and we want to install from adopt.openjdk.net. Make sure we have OpenJDK 11 long-term support installed, and we're going to use hotspot. This doesn't really matter for us, so we'll go with the default. And we're just going to download the latest release, and it's going to pop over into our downloads folder. You can see here I've got another copy of it where I tested it out earlier, so I'm going to clear this out. And while that downloads, I'm going to open up a Finder window, and I'm going to go into my downloads. Yours may look a little bit different. And so here's where we can see that it's downloading. And it looks like it's almost done, about 1 second to go, and then the download is complete. So you can look in your downloads, or you can just pull it out here. I'm using Safari. That'll bring up an installer, and so we just accept all the defaults, continue, agree, install. You may have to enter your password in here for your computer. It'll write the files, validate packages, and now Java is installed. It'll go ahead and move it to the trash for you, which you can say yes. One thing you can do is to verify is you can go into Finder, go into Applications, go down to Utilities, and open the terminal. And we can just check by typing Java -version, and we can see OpenJDK version 11 dot something, so that tells us we've installed Java 11. So that's a good first step. We've got Java on our computer now. The next thing we need to do is we need to install a tool called Gradle. There's a few ways to install Gradle. We're just going to go with the manual way. So we're going to install manually. We're going to go to binary only. Make sure we pull that down. And it's going to download pretty quickly. So while it goes over, this is going to require a little bit of work with your terminal, but I'll walk you through the steps you'll need for that. And so we will again go to Applications, Utilities, Terminal. Okay. And we're going to change directories. So we'll do ls to see our directories, and you should see downloads. So we will cd into downloads. ls to see it. And let's see. Right here, we've got this Gradle 7.0. And so if we see the commands here, we're going to create a directory called opt-gradle. And so notice if you type makedir mkdir/opt/gradle, you get a permission denied error. That's because you need to run as sudo. So sudo mkdir/opt/gradle. It'll ask you to enter a password, and now that directory has been created. Then we want to unzip, but we don't have a zip folder anymore, it looks like, because macOS did us the favor of unzipping it for us. So we're just going to run sudo mv gradle7.0/opt/gradle. And if I go to opt Gradle, I see that folder in there. So that moves Gradle into the install directory. But now we have to configure our system environment. So one thing we're going to have to do is take this line right here, this export path equals path $opt Gradle bin. We're going to copy that, and the easiest way to do this is going to be to open up Finder, And if you go to the, let's say, for example, you go to your desktop, you're going to want to go up one level. I'm doing that with the Command Up button. That takes me into iCloud Drive. Command Up again takes me nowhere. So make sure you're not in iCloud Drive. If you go to your Downloads folder and you go up from there, it'll take you into your user drive. And the thing you want to make sure is that you can see your hidden files. So this is where it kind of gets a little bit more complicated if you don't know what you're doing. I'm having trouble visualizing the file, so what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we're in the home directory, and we're going to have to do this on the command line. And then we're going to type nano.zsh.rc. If you're running a newer Mac, this is the file you're looking for, is this .zshrc. If you're running a slightly older version of macOS, you're probably looking for bashrc, not zshrc. And all you're going to want to do here is just scroll to the very, very bottom of the file. It can take a while, and then you're just going to right-click here and paste. And it says export path equals $path : /opt /gradle /gradle-7.0 /bin. To exit, you're going to just press Control X on your keyboard. It'll ask you to save. You'll type Y for yes. It'll ask you for the file name. Don't mess with that. Leave it alone. Press Enter. And then you will quit your terminal with Control Q. And you'll go back to Applications, Utilities, Terminal, and open it up. And you can run Gradle to see, yep, Gradle 7.0. So that is your way of checking that Gradle was installed. And now notice there's a few ways to do this Gradle installation. I just tried to pick what I feel like is going to be the most direct for the most people. Obviously, if you know more about using the command line, feel free to do that. As long as you know what you're doing, this is kind of meant for people who are not as familiar with these steps. So that's 2 of our pieces of software installed. The last one we're going to do is we're going to install Visual Studio Code. And here we're on Mac. You can choose the version that's right for you, but Visual Studio Code does a good job of picking it out for you. So I'm on a Mac, so I'll just download Mac here. And then it's going to start downloading my files. I'm going to clear out my downloads while we wait. And this is a larger download. It's got a lot of tools in it. And again, for a detailed explanation of Visual Studio Code, I recommend going to watch the Windows video. Most of these videos are geared toward Windows users because that's the computer most of them will have access to. But again, you can do pretty much anything that we do in the Windows video on Mac. This is just walking through getting set up. So once you do that, you can open up Visual Studio Code here. You'll get the window. Make sure you accept the security settings from macOS, and you'll get this window pop up. After Visual Studio Code is installed, you'll want to make sure that you install some extensions. Notice I don't have any installed right now. Here are a few that we definitely need. You need to install the Java extensions pack. And so here it's this one. It's from Microsoft. And notice it's the extension pack. That means it installs multiple extensions for you. So we're going to install that here. And this will take just a moment, but it's going to install several extensions. Let's see, including, it looks like Visual Studio IntelliCode, language support, debugger, and Maven. So once that goes away up here, we see that that's been installed. And that's really the only extension that's required. Another strongly recommended extension, and if you look here, we can see there are several extensions that have been installed. It looks like there's a total of 7 that got installed. A good recommendation is the bracket pair colorizer 2. Make sure you don't get Colorizer 1, it's Colorizer 2 here. So we'll just install that. And what Bracket Pair Colorizer does is it colorizes your brackets, curly braces, open and close parentheses, square brackets, so that you can very easily see, okay, which closing brace does this match with very quickly. If you plan on doing any work with anybody else who is not necessarily in the same room as you, a good tool to get is the Visual Studio Code Live Share Pack. So there's a few you'll see here. You definitely want the extension pack that includes all of the live share tools. So you just install that. It's also recommended that you get a good icons pack, and so I recommend getting VS Code icons. It's this one here from the VS Code icons team. It will change your folder layout here in Visual Studio Code so you can see some icons that give you some meaning in terms of what a file is or what a folder is. Once you've installed it, make sure you select it as your theme. We'll close this. So thank you for activating. Make sure we do that. And the last thing I recommend for most people is to find a theme you like. Visual Studio Code by default looks like this. I particularly enjoy the Cyberpunk theme pack. And so when you find themes you like, you just install them. And then you have the opportunity to apply it. I'm a big fan of the Umbra protocol, so that's the one I usually select. But at this point, you've got Visual Studio Code installed, you've got the Java extension pack installed, and you've got Java 11 as well as Gradle installed. So you've got all the tools you'll need to start out with Java development. So at this point, you should be good to go for the future videos. Just keep in mind that the other videos will be done on a Windows machine, but if you are able to follow the steps there, it should be very similar to what you would see on a Mac.